It's Parenting Tuesday. I was just wondering, thinking back to my own life, I think I was almost 24 when I decided to pack my bags and leave my parents' house and start life on my own. Nijipikie ka ugali. I remember I went to the supermarket, I bought a stove, I bought a mattress, and 3 sufurias. I don't know how many spoons I bought. And by the way, it's my girlfriend who forced me to move out of my father's house. She came and she gave me an ultimatum and she said, young man, if you are really serious about me and you want to marry me, you need to move out of your father's house and live on your own. Otherwise, how will we know if you can be able to sustain me if you can't sustain yourself? Because I was madly in love, my friend. Akanipeleka supermarket, we did some shopping, a mattress here, a stove there, 2 spoons here, a few plates here. Jamaa karuka kutoka kwa meli, jumped into the water, started living on my own, and I've never looked back. My friend, the question is, when did you move out of home? I'm a bado uko home. You're still living with your folks. It's okay, but if you moved out of home, what age were you when you decided to cut the cord from your parents, move out, start living life on your own? How was that first house? Mine, I have a story to tell. That's another show altogether. But tell me your story. When did you move out of home? Because on Parenting Tuesday today, we'll be talking about when do you cut the cord? When do you release your children? Utapatia watoto madaraka lini? Waanze kuishi peke yao. It's Madaraka Day today. We'll talk about that shortly. If you are that young man who's listening in and you've been wanting madaraka from your parents, listen to today's show. Maybe you'll get some tips. Madaraka Pride. That's the big story. Daily Nation newspaper today. It says Kisumu steps forward to host national celebrations marking 58 years since Kenya gained self-governance. Red carpet, 21-gun salute for Burundi president, followed by trade agreements. President Kenyatta commissions shipyard, cargo ship and marine school at long-awaited Kisumu port, and then construction of new ships expected to create more than 1,000 jobs for locals and boost ferry of goods. That's the big story right here. There's also another story here that is not so good. Little Chantel's murder stuns community. Last Saturday, 8-year-old Chantel Nzembi left their Kitengela home after lunch to play with a friend in an adjacent plot. But when she failed to return 2 hours later, her parents were alarmed, plunging the family into a frantic search for the grade 2 pupil. It says that marked the start of their 40-hour agony that came to a painful end yesterday when the little girl was found killed, her body stashed in a gunny bag and dumped by the roadside near their Ashut home. Oh my goodness, I can't even begin to think of the pain and the agony as a parent. I can't. Who would do something like that? That is just sad. Oh my goodness. Read that story on the front page of the Daily Nation newspaper today. There's quite a bit on the big day in Kisumu as Kenyans celebrate their 58th Madaraka Day feat. I was thinking about this the other day, back in the day when I was still living in my mother's house. National days came with a lot of pomp and color. Before D-Day, like now, if it was back in the day, the whole of last week we would be reminded about this day. And the newspapers would publish the history of the day. Why are we celebrating this day? The TV stations would have their documentaries showing why we are celebrating this day, how it came to be. Nowadays, most of that doesn't happen. And I wonder why. It's good history. We need to remind ourselves why we are celebrating some of these days. Otherwise, by the time our children are the leaders of this country, those days may not have a lot of meaning. Other stories you will find in here. Looking at page 11, Lokitang, the Mau Mau prison that Kenya forgot. Historians say the lack of historical artifacts used by the freedom fighters has seen the camp lose its importance as a historical site. At least there's something in here. You can take a look at that in relation to the day we are celebrating today. There's also quite a bit from the editorials and opinion polls. And then jumping to the pullouts today being Tuesday, Smart Company. King James dislodges Oigara from banking patch. before the COVID-19 pandemic struck, KCB was far ahead of equity in the first 3 months of the year after it posted net profit of 6.2 billion compared to equity's 5.3 billion. But a year down the line, the charts have changed, with equity perched at the top in profitability after reporting net profits of 8.7 billion, a 63% jump from where it was in March last year. KCB came in second with 6.3 billion profits. Take a look at that. Smart business. Looking at the second pullout today is SMEs. We are not boarding. Sad story of multi-million shilling markets in Turkana County that lie idle. No one is in the market. The stalls are empty. The people have refused to board. Find out the reasons why through this pullout in the Daily Nation newspaper today. Trying to see if there's something else in here. Yes, there is. It is Healthy Nation, the next pandemic. Scientists are now focusing on the next deadly disease and its likely source. Here is what they have found out. Some interesting read for you there. You can take a look at that. Back page, Daily Nation, 90,000 teachers start CBC training. Sessions began yesterday in preparation for grade 5 rollout in the month of July. That's next month. In sports, there's something on the FKF Premier League, and I can see something on hockey as well. And Eldoret City Marathon, 5 days to go. Find out where the highlight is today. Those are some of the key stories you will find in the local dailies this morning. Grab yourself a copy. Keep yourself informed on what's happening both locally and internationally. And as you grab yourself a copy, grab yourself also a cup of Eden tea. It is the finest garden tea. Comes to you in different flavors: Eden green tea, Eden purple tea, Eden lemon tea, Eden ginger tea, and Eden premium tea. Available in supermarkets, affordable prices, high quality tea. Try it out. You will not regret it. Eden tea cares for you. Eden tea cares for me. Eden tea reminding us together we need to work together. Since last year, we've been working together to defeat this pandemic, washing our hands, putting on our face masks, maintaining interpersonal distance. When we take personal responsibility collectively, we are able to achieve more. So let's continue to do that. Eden tea, like I said, is available at leading supermarkets at affordable prices. Try it out today. You will love it. Give me some feedback. Okay, in the coming short while, we talk about when to cut the cord. Parenting Tuesday. The question I'm asking you this morning is, how old were you when you finally left home to start living on your own? 20316 SMS 9. WhatsApp number 0786316316. I've got two amazing guests in studio to talk to us today and to have a discussion about when do you cut that cord. Happy Madaraka Day to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Parenting Tuesday. Today we are talking about when do you cut the cord. The second time, mara ya kwanza akitoka kwa umba likatwa cord. Mara ya second, when they need to move out of home and become responsible and live on their own, you have to let them go. But when do you do that? And the question I'm asking is, how old were you when you moved out of home? Interesting answers coming in. There's one here from Derek in Kisumu. Derek anasema yeye alitoka akiwa 17 years. Anasema saa hizi niko 22 na ile moto nimewasha hata serikali haiwezi zima. My friend, keep growing, keep sowing. There's another one here from Sai in Nakuru. Sai, you say you moved out. You haven't moved out, you're 22, and your mom says she will only allow you to live alone if you can sustain yourself. My good friend Shiro, you say you remember your folks never wanted you to move out. It was until your mom's cousin intervened without your knowledge, and she was like, your girl is 27 and she needs to get out there. You say your parents were very protective. God worked in mysterious ways because you got a fully furnished house, because the son of another friend of your mom was moving out of the country, and so you basically inherited his house and his stuff. The SQ you were living in Buruburu, also the rent was very good, and that's your story. That's how you began. My namesake, Martin Idongo. Martin, thank you. You say you moved out of 21 at 21. 2 years later, you got married. Good for you, my friend. Mainly talk at 24, 1 year later. I said I do, and I have never looked back. This morning, we get to hang out with Beatrice Mwema. Beatrice Mwema is from Childline, Kenya. Beatrice, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Madaraka Day to you.
Happy Madaraka Day.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
We also have Anthony Amisi. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You're doing well?
Yes, I am. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Karibuni sana. It's good to have the both of you. Maybe I can begin by asking you, Anthony, how old were you when you moved out of home? Ama bado uko nyumbani?
I think I would. Wait. I think effectively I moved out of home when I went to campus because my parents were in Nairobi. I went to Eldoret.
Okay.
So I might as well just say that I just that's the time I left. Then when I left campus, I stayed with my parents maybe for 3 months. Then I moved out.
Wow.
So maybe around 24.
Wow, that's good. What about you, Beatrice?
Yeah.
I moved out when I was 24. I was also in campus. My parents are not living in Nairobi.
Yeah.
So when I came to campus, I decided not to stay in the hostels, but to rent a small house somewhere in Ngara.
Ah, okay. Wow.
Yes.
You know, today we are celebrating Madaraka Day, and we are talking about how we gained self-independent and we became self-reliant over 50 plus years ago. And I was just trying to relate this to the family setting, and I was wondering, you know, at what point, because you give birth to children and they're depending on you for everything. And I was just wondering, at what point do you begin to teach your children to be independent, to start learning to do things for themselves? Because it just doesn't happen the time they move out. This process has to begin very, very early on. At what point, Beatrice, does this begin?
I would say way back from when a child is in preschool or just before they join at the age of 3.
Okay.
And here I'm looking at a child who is able to tell which kind of a doll do they want. Yeah, or which dress do they prefer to wear. So it has to start from there. When children are young, we need to encourage them to be able to make their own choices. But for such an early age, we need to provide options to these children. Like, I have these 2 dolls, which one do you prefer that I buy for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really a process of learning how to make decisions. I find that sometimes, Anthony, even some of our young people today, the skill of decision making is very wanting in some of their lives. And I keep wondering, are we as parents failing our children? Are we not teaching them how to make critical decisions in their life?
Yeah, it's very true. And I think part of the problem is that as parents, we want to exercise a lot of control. So because we want to exercise control, what we do is that we make the decisions for them. We don't give them that option, as Beatrice is saying. We have to present with them challenging situations where they can be able to make decisions. And as a parent, you get to observe, allow them to fail if they make a decision that is not right, and use that opportunity then to transmit and pass on some wisdom. So give them options from an early age. Let them grow up knowing that I can actually make a decision, and even if it is wrong, I will be corrected and I can still move on. Yeah.
You know, we are so. I love what you're saying, Anthony, because we are so protective. And I'm just thinking, as a parent myself, you know, sometimes you want the very best for your child, and you're thinking they can't make that decision. I have to make it for them because I'm trying to shield them and I'm trying to protect them. You know, and I keep doing that for them when they're teenagers into their young adulthood age. Beatrice, how does that affect this young man or this young girl if the parent is consistently the one making decisions for them?
When the parent keeps on making decisions for the child, this child will grow depending on the parent. In everything that they do, in every step that they make, they will always depend on the parent to make decisions for them.
Yeah.
But when we empower this child to be able to make their own decisions, they will be able to overcome anxiety, which comes with sometimes not knowing what to do. But because they've been empowered from the word go to be able to take charge of their life, then they will be able to overcome that. And then we will be able to bring up resilient children who are able to step out there for themselves and make decisions for their own life without depending on anyone. So the idea of making decisions for our children creates a lot of dependency, and that translates to even when they are older.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know about, okay, because for me personally, the whole aspect of, first of all, I never went to boarding school. So, maisha ya boarding siku pitia. Even when it comes to college, I was a day bag. So, I went to school, came back home. And I'm just wondering for the both of you, because both of you mentioned that, when you came to campus in Nairobi, that's when you actually moved out of your parents' house. How did that affect your way of thinking and your decision-making process and just the sense of responsibility? Because now you're not in the same environment with your parents, you're with your peers, and you have to make decisions for yourselves. Did you make any mistakes? How did that go, Anthony?
Yeah, maybe I should mention that I was a day bag in high school. So it's just campus when I went to boarding.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that even in that context, you will find that as a parent, you can actually allow your child to be able to make many decisions, even as they are day scholars. They can be able to decide how to plan their time. How will they get to school? Do they want to use a matatu? Do they want to hike a lift with a friend? All those are decisions that they can actually make. So I would say also being closer to your parents also still gives you that opportunity to make decisions. And in fact, if you ask me, there is more advantage because your parents are actually available to see, to guide. Now, when you're by yourself, yes, you have that option of failing and making decisions by yourself. But the beauty is that also you find yourself surrounded with people. Yeah, and sometimes you can actually gain a lot of wisdom from people who are older than you in that setting of campus. And they actually are able to guide you. So the thing is just being able to independently make a decision, but also realizing that there is that aspect of interdependence that you can actually also call on other people around you to help guide you. So it's not that complete independence where you're a self-made person. You also realize that you're in the context of a community of people who can also help you when you fail. And they can also applaud you when you make a good decision that moves you forward. I'm
just wondering, Anthony, is it easier for parents who took their children to boarding school or whose children went to college and they were boarding in college, is it easier for them to release their children than those parents whose children have never been to any kind of boarding facility?
Not necessarily, because part of the reason why you want to release your children to boarding is that you're also still exercising some sense of control.
Okay.
Because you are looking for a good boarding school with strict teachers who can carry on with what you would want done at home. So even when they come back, you still want to maintain that sense of control. Yeah. So it's not necessarily that it will be easier for them to release them, because still when they come back, you will be taking them out to a big world where they don't have those accountability structures like you would have in a school. Because now they will go out into the open society and they will have now to, be on their own. So you will still might harbor some fears, you know. Will they make it? Who will watch over them? There's no headmaster out there now. There's no teacher. There's no games master. So they still have that. So you can still have that fear.
Yeah.
So boarding can just be another way of extending your control over them.
Okay. Beatrice, finances are a big issue. When it comes to moving out. Like somebody has said, my parents say they will only release me when I'm able to sustain myself, and that is attached to the whole issue of finances. And sometimes I wonder, do parents do enough to talk to their children about money and about managing money, so that when that time comes for them to start life on their own, then they have the wisdom to be able to do that?
Yes. Yes, that's true. And when you look at our days, I decided to move out because my parent was providing for me. If that was not the case, then I could just have stayed with them. And as we look at the community or the society today, you will find that, yes, most people have money, but still they're not moving out. So there's that aspect of being able to manage what you have for you to be able to stand for yourself.
Yes.
There's that fear of going out there. What if I'm not able to sustain myself with the little that I have? So there's a lot of management at a personal level that is required for a parent to be able to train their child, to be able to manage themselves. Give them responsibilities like, I give you this 1,000 shillings. Then how will you be able to manage this 1,000 shillings? So if a child is not brought up in a way that they are able to manage the little that they have or the little that the parent is providing for them, then it will be very difficult for them as an adult to be able to manage even if they have much money.
Okay.
So it is very key for us as parents to be able to train our children to manage the little amounts that we have.
Okay. Shortly, we'll talk about the whole aspect of, so when do you let go? Because I see parents who, their children are in their late 20s or even into their mid-30s, and they're still staying at home, and their parents saying, you know what, haujafukuzwa, this is home, when you are ready, we'll release you, take as much time as you need. And then there are those parents, once you get your ID, they tell you, my friend, unatambulika na serikali saa hizi, uko na kazi, unaweza ukaoa, unaweza ukaekwa korokoroni. My friend, mshahara yako ya kwanza, move out and start life on your own. And so I keep wondering, okay, there are those who are that early, there are those who keep holding on. At what point do we let go? We'll talk about that shortly. It is 7:32, in case you're wondering what time it is. Parenting Tuesday, Madaraka Day special. When do you cut the cord? When do you tell your child, nimekupatia independence, uende huko uanze maisha kivyako? And what are some of the challenges we face when we do that? If you have a question or a thought, or you want to share your experience of how it was like for you when you released your children or when you moved out of home, share that with us via SMS 20316 SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. My name is James Okumu, Parenting Tuesday today. Happy Madaraka Day. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about Madaraka for our children. When do we let go? When do we cut the cord? Question I'm asking you is, when did you leave home? How old were you? How was the experience for you? Lawrence, you're tuned in from Pretoria in South Africa. You are saying you're enjoying this Parenting Tuesday. And you say, by the way, your parents, Alexi from Uganda, Vihiga, yes, moved me out of the way to Southern Africa when I was only 19 years. What? Ulienda down south when you were only 19? Oh my goodness. Wow. I wonder how that experience was like for you. I had another interesting one here. Let me try and find it. Phyllis Ndongo from Saudi Arabia. Watu wa ngambo inaonekana walienda mapema sana wakiwa bado wachanga. Phyllis Ndongo from Saudi Arabia is saying, do ladies move out? Wakienda wapi? And you say, I think when I decided to move out, I got married and I was only 17. What? And you say, my kid juzi ameniambia amefikisha 38 anafaa kuhama, but he's only 21. Yeah, naona yuko 38 kwa sababu amekaa na mama sana, they need to move out. 17, my dear, you're just a child. Hata kitambulisho ulikuwa hauna. What? You must come one of these days and share your testimony with us. This morning I'm hanging out with Anthony Amisi and Beatrice Mwema. Beatrice is from Childlike Kenya. So Anthony, I was saying earlier on, there are those parents who hold on and say, you know what, when you are ready, haujafukuzwa huku ni kwenyu, we are not in a hurry, wewe si mzigo, you know, jamaa yuko 35, na bado yuko home. But then there are others, by the time you get your ID, you get your first job, your dad looks at you in the eye and says, young man, mshahara ya kwanza, make sure umetafuta mahali, uchomoke uanze maisha peke yako. That's a big difference. When do we let go?
I think, Jemo, there's something you said at the beginning, that letting go begins at the moment the child is born and the cord is cut.
Yes.
Hapo ndio inaanza. Then, from that point, as a parent, you should intentionally work yourself out of the job. You're intentionally equipping your child to leave the home, because that is the whole goal of parenting. It is to prepare your child for the world out there. So as your child is growing, you are slowly transferring competence and you're building skill on different things, from that time of when they can choose toys, from the time when they can choose the clothes to wear, from the time that they can choose friends and all that. So you're intentionally preparing them to handle things by themselves. You're giving them life skills from home. And at every stage, at every age that you move with your child, you will begin to see that there's some certain things that they are beginning to handle very well. They are showing more and more responsibility. And as they get now into the teenage years, when they now intentionally, even by themselves, they start pushing you away.
Yeah.
You start noticing that they would rather spend time with buddies and do their own things. Now you start slowly allowing them now to do more and more things by themselves. It's like flying a kite. You release that string, pole. Then eventually it reaches a point, even the child themselves, they will just tell you, it is actually time for me to leave. And even you will see this child can actually cook. This child knows that they need to work to earn money. They're able to manage their finances. So they can show signs within that safety of that home.
Yeah.
They're showing signs that they're actually ready. And for some, it can be as early as the ones who you're saying are 17. Some can even be 14. Some can even be 18. So depending on how they show that maturity and that responsibility, I would say as soon as possible, if they show that competence, then I think they're ready actually to fly on their own.
Wow. There's something you said
it
there.
It should be an intentional process that you keep moving it along.
Anthony, there's something you said there that I think is very critical and very important. Tungekuwa chache ningesema hapo umekuwa mdeep. You said that we need to realize that are we equipping our children to go out into the world? And Beatrice, I'm wondering, could it be that sometimes as parents we hold on because we didn't do our job properly to equip our children to be able to face the world, to be able to be responsible? Because they have not been demonstrating these things at home, because we have been shielding them and doing all these things for them. And so when we wake up one day and we realize, hiya, he's 28, and you're thinking, 28, nani atampikia, nani atamwoshea nguo, akae tu hapa. Could it be that sometimes as parents we fail in preparing our children to live on their own?
Yes, that's a possibility, because most of our parents, you will find that they want you so close, so they will not give you that responsibility. Because to our parents, we are children.
Yes.
We are not able to make decisions for ourselves.
Yes.
We don't have a say in what we want to do. So because of that, they will nurture us. They will bring us so close to them, and also they start notion that they don't want you to go because they're afraid. They don't know what might happen to you. They're not sure whether you're able to manage out there. So that is brought about by the way they bring us up. They've not nurtured us the correct way for us to be able to go out and fly on our own. But because they are there for us, they do everything for us, then they still can't allow us to go. And that is why you find that someone is at the age of 35, 38, and they are still living with their parents. And it's not a big deal. We are still their children, yes.
Yeah.
So to our parents, as long as we are their children, then we are not able to go out there and make our own decisions.
I'm just wondering on that aspect of, somebody's 30, 35 and they're still living at home. And as a parent, you want the best for your child. And you're thinking, instead of them going out there and suffering, na kuna room hapa, na mimi niko na kazi nzuri, I'll just take care of him until he's able to be able to sustain himself. And so, Anthony, I'm thinking, what's the balance between actually caring for your child and becoming an enabler for their irresponsibility? Because you're thinking, uko nje atapigwa na maisha, huyu ana kazi, hajatosha, and so you're thinking, you just stay here, don't worry. They have no responsibility in the home. Kazi yake ni kuamka kukula breakfast, kufanya kazi zake hapo kama ni kuona TV the whole day. They're not doing anything constructive, but you're thinking, my child, one day, but that one day has not come. So where's the balance between care and becoming an enabler for irresponsibility?
All right. I think as a parent, the most caring thing you can do for your child is to allow them to go out and discover the potential that they have in them. Because because your child comes packaged with a purpose, an assignment, something that they have been assigned to do. Now, they will not discover it if they are in that comfort zone where everything is provided for and everything is nice and cozy. The most caring thing you can do for your child is to allow them to go out there and discover what they have inside of them. So it is actually the most caring thing to do is to push them out. Even birds, you see the eagle, it will push out the eaglets from the nest so that they can discover that they can also actually fly and fend for themselves and start their own lives. So the more you keep your child at home and keep providing for them and giving them that comfort, you're actually crippling them. You're actually turning them into a place where, they actually don't step out to do anything at all, and they don't discover the potential that they have within them. It can only be discovered when you face the difficulties and you're able then to see what you're made of. Wow.
Yeah. You remember I talked about how I moved out of home, and I remember, man, life was tough. Hey, life was tough. I am blessed, vertically, horizontally. I'm looking like I am blessed extremely abundantly. Back in the day, my friend, oh my goodness, I looked like a stick. And I remember one time my mom was so mad with me because my mom was asking me, how can you sleep hungry and I'm still here in Nairobi? Why aren't you telling me what you need? If it's not working out, come back home. Hukufukuzwa. By then I was not married yet, but I told my mom, no, I have to crack this thing. If I'm going to get married one day, I have to crack this thing. I'm not dead yet. I have to crack it. I have to find a way to make this thing work. If I come back home, and I just persevered, and man, Jehovah saw me through. Beatrice, how do you deal with different personalities? Because when I look at my own children, I've got 3 children, and I keep using my children as examples on this show. I've got 3 children. The firstborn, very responsible, but he grew into it. My firstborn is the gradual type. He's not the chap the type that jumps into things for the sake of jumping into things. He takes a step back, he analyzes, he studies, he comes to a conclusion, he acts. So for him, even on matters being responsible, that's just how he's grown. My secondborn, he is the kind that jumps out of the boat, whether it is in a lake or on top of a mountain. He loves to explore. So very responsible. He's the only one in the family who went for boarding. My thirdborn, I think maybe I'll hold on to her until she's 50. This show is for me. I'm thinking that one I'll hold on to her until she's 50. Not because she's irresponsible, but it's just that father-daughter attachment. And so, Beatrice, I'm wondering, because you can't have a blanket rule. In this house, when you get to 21, you move out, because children have different personalities and different ways of looking at life. How do you manage to balance, as a parent, how do you balance that so that you're not damaging your children because you're comparing them to each other?
Okay. The advice that I can give to the parents is that each child is unique, and every child is supposed to be handled in a unique way. Like you're saying, we have different personalities.
Yes.
There are those children who will just who like exploring and doing things very quickly, and they will be able to come up with very good decisions. But there are those children who will sit back, look at it and say, no, 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 this is not my thing. Or what if I fail when I do this? So as a parent, look at your child, know the strengths that your child has, and then empower that child based on the strengths that they have. If it's a child who is so scared of making decisions, encourage this child for them to be able to try to make decisions. And if they fail, let them learn from the mistakes that they're having, and they will be able to do it better next time. So don't look at them and say, this child is not able to make decisions, so you just leave them. No. But encourage them to make those decisions. If they fail, let them learn from their mistakes. For the children who are very quick and they like to explore and they're able to make good decisions, support them and guide them, because sometimes they can be all over. So you need to guide them to the right direction and support them in their decision-making processes.
Very true.
Martin, you have said that you have a daughter whom you want to keep until 50 years.
Yes.
I think that's the same case with my dad. But for me, I was lucky I was able to get out. But now what happens, we talk every day. So maybe you can adopt that. You can be talking to her, allow her to grow and move out and explore the world. But you can talk to her every day to get to know how she's doing and how things are going here.
Wow.
But don't hold her
fathers and their
50.
daughters. Fathers, we want to hold on to our daughters. We are the man in their life. They have to pass through me before they get to her. There's a very interesting observation here, Anthony. Would want to find out what you think about it. This one is coming in from Emma. Emma says, thank you so much for this discussion. And she says, this is one thing that affects marriages. Two people coming together and both of them are moving out of their parents' homes. They have no idea how to budget. They have no idea who does what. And it's just a recipe for conflict during the early stages of marriage. What do you think about that thought, Anthony?
Very, very true. Part of what I also do is I counsel with a lot of couples who are preparing to get married. So it's one observation that you will see. People who have never lived by themselves. So in the first place, you have never learned how to take care of yourself first as an individual. Do your own budget, do your own planning. Then you want to compound that problem by bringing somebody else that you want to do life with, and you haven't even learned how to self-manage. You haven't learned that responsibility of handling money. So you come together, conflict will definitely happen because both of you will be learning on the job. Now, it's not a case for disaster and say that now the marriage won't work. Of course, you can find help and people can guide you into how to be able to manage. But it can actually be made better if we as parents equip our children at home first with these basic skills. You know, sometimes we invest so much money in so many other things, but you'll find that what your children need are very simple basic skills which they can just learn from the simple household chores, the simple shopping that you do every month, going with them to the supermarket, them seeing how you shop, how you budget that money, where the money is coming from. And as you equip them like that, when they get into now running their own homes, they come with that basic foundation from which they can now build up and even make it better, rather than come when they're totally blank and they have to start on a blank slate. And of course, there'll be a lot of conflict, a lot of fighting because you don't know, how to even begin. So it's true. It is one of the causes of conflict in marriage. So as parents, let's equip our children from home. Let's give them those very basic skills that don't even need school fees. They just need you to be present. They just need you to spend time with them and pass on the things that you do in managing that home. And they'll be able then to go and start their own homes from a starting point.
I like that. Beatrice, even as we finish, what would you tell that young man or that young girl who is at that point where they actually need to move out, but they're so afraid? Because I find that nowadays, a lot of our young people want to begin life at a level where I'm thinking, are you realistic? You know, you want to begin life on your own, when you're driving your own car, you have a fully furnished house. Wengine tulienda shopping ya sufuria tatu na stove na mattress. That's enough. 1 spoon and 2 cups and 2 plates. Not because hakuna mgeni anaingia hapa, ni mmoja mmoja, so that we can have we only have 2 plates, msikuje 15. But our young people today, I find that they want a fully furnished house, you know, a 64-inch TV, leather sofa sets before they can move out and start life on their own. So to that young individual who's still at home, they've been thinking about this, but they're so afraid to move out because they're thinking, will I manage? I don't have enough. What can you tell them?
Somebody said journey for 1 million miles will start with the first step.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage them to take that first step and walk out.
Mm-hmm.
And the little that they have, try to manage that. And as they manage the little that they have, they will be able to, it's a learning process,
Yeah.
they will be able to learn. And then it's also an opportunity. As they're out there, they will be able to see more opportunities, and then they will be able to manage their lives better. So they should not be afraid. So many people have done it, and they were able to figure out how they want their life to take, or the course of their life,
Mm-hmm.
as they're out there. And something else I want to emphasize is the lives of our parents, or the lifestyle of our parents, is not our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So just step out there and make your own lifestyle as a person. Don't rely on the lifestyle of your parent.
Great.
Yeah.
Martin Dongo says, move out when you can afford a carton to sleep on. Well, Martin, and then I have one more text here. It says, my firstborn left home after standard 8. She left for high school in the UK, came back, did grade 12 and 13 in Nairobi, then left for the USA until now. She has been more away from us than with us. She is now a practitioner. She's very organized, very focused, and very hardworking. Good for her. And we thank God for the parents who are able to support. Our time is up for today, but thank you so much, Anthony and Beatrice, for availing yourselves on this Madaraka Day to be able to have this discussion with us. Indeed, it's been a enriching and a conversation. I have several people who are saying that conversation was so nice. Please have a part 2. We'll see what we can do about that. But thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, happy Madaraka Day to you. Wazazi, let's help our children. I love what Anthony said. It's a question we need to ask ourselves always. Am I equipping my child to be able to face the world alone? If you are not, start today. It's never late. Don't regret. Start doing something today. And to the young men and the young women who are still waiting until you buy your first car or until you do this, those are not bad things. But sometimes you just have to jump out with a stove, a sufuria, 2 plates, 2 cups, a spoon, and a mattress or a carton, like Martin, my namesake, says, and life is good to go. Have yourselves a great day. God bless you.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.